Right now, something extraordinary is happening. Something so large, so quiet, so significant that millions of people will live through it without ever realizing it changed their lives forever. And by the time most people understand what just happened, the opportunity will already be gone. Stay with me, because what I am about to show you is the largest transfer of wealth in the entire history of human civilization. $124 trillion. That is the amount of wealth expected to change hands over the coming decades. Not because of a market crash, not because of a war, not because of a new invention, simply because an entire generation is getting older. And here is the part that should make you stop scrolling. Whether you inherit any of that money or not, your financial future will still be shaped by where it ends up. Here is why. The baby boomer generation. People born between 1946 and 1964 built more wealth than any generation that has ever lived on this planet. They bought homes when prices were still affordable. They invested during the longest periods of economic growth in modern history. They started businesses, built retirement funds, and accumulated assets on a scale that had never been seen before. Today, they control tens of trillions of dollars in wealth. But wealth has one rule that nobody escapes. You cannot take it with you. As this generation ages, every dollar they own has to go somewhere. To children, to grandchildren, to charities, to businesses, to foundations that will carry their names long after they are gone. And the transfer is not some distant prediction economists are debating. It has already started. Every single year, hundreds of billions of dollars are already being inherited around the world, and the pace is accelerating rapidly. Families are changing. Companies are changing ownership. Investment portfolios worth more than most countries produce in a year are quietly changing hands. This is not one single event that happens on one single day. It is millions of individual transfers happening quietly every single day, and together they add up to the largest movement of private wealth humanity has ever witnessed. Now here is where most people get this wrong. They hear this story and immediately think, that only matters if someone is leaving me money. But that is completely the wrong way to look at it. Because money does not stay still. It gets invested. It buys businesses. It funds startups that become the companies you use every day. It purchases homes in your neighborhood. It creates jobs in your city. And most importantly, it decides which industries grow and which ones quietly disappear. Millennials alone are expected to inherit $45 trillion over the next 25 years. And unlike the generation before them, they invest completely differently. They grew up with the internet, smartphones, and artificial intelligence. Research already shows that younger investors are far more willing to put their money into technology, AI, and alternative assets than their parents ever were. Now imagine millions of people suddenly controlling life-changing wealth and choosing to invest it in ways that previous generations never considered. That does not just create new millionaires. It reshapes entire industries almost overnight. And the people who understand where that money is flowing before everyone else does, those are the ones who end up on the right side of history. But here is the uncomfortable part that nobody puts in the headline. Not everyone benefits equally from this. Not even close. A massive share of this wealth is concentrated in the hands of the wealthiest households, being passed directly to the next generation of wealthy families. Meanwhile, millions of people will reach adulthood with no inheritance waiting, no property, no investment portfolio, no business being handed down. And every single one of those people will be competing in the same economy as someone who just received millions without working a single day for it. That is the reality. The biggest wealth transfer in history is happening simultaneously with the biggest widening of the wealth gap in modern times. And most people have absolutely no idea it is occurring. So, what do you actually do with this? 3 things. Pay attention to where the money is flowing. When trillions of dollars start moving into new industries, AI, technology, data infrastructure, alternative assets, opportunities follow that capital. Being in the path of that movement early is everything. Stop building your future around an inheritance that may never come. Nearly 40% of baby boomers have little or nothing to pass on. If that is your plan, you are already behind and you need a different one immediately. And start building assets instead of just earning income. Income pays this month's bills. Assets keep producing value long after you stop working. A business, investments, property, something that compounds over time and can eventually be passed to the next generation, because that is exactly how this cycle continues. Here is the most important insight I can leave you with. Many of the biggest winners from this wealth transfer will not inherit a single dollar. They will build the companies, the products, and the services that inherited wealth eventually gets spent on. That is where the real opportunity lives. $124 trillion is moving right now. Whether you inherit from it or compete with the people who do, your future will be shaped by where that money lands. The question is not whether this affects you. It does. The question is whether you understood it early enough to do something about it. Now you do. If this video changed how you see money, hit the like button. Subscribe for more videos on money, AI, tech, and the future, broken down in ways that actually make sense.